Hi, my friends. I wanted to start with this shot to show you this beautiful white peony that I found, like a bush of those blooming outside of my house. There's also like a wild jasmine. We call it jasmine here in Poland. It's like a bush with beautiful white, very scented, gorgeous flowers. And what we are going to be talking about today is my new tradition, my monthly cards. So these were my cards of May, and it was Three of Swords from Thoth. It was Ace of Flames from Margaret Peterson Tarot. I was psilocybin commune from, what is it called? Oh my god, Herbal Astrology Oracle, and it was the Vessel archetype from the Wild Unknown Archetypes. And also I did make a mistake. This is my card for the 3 months until summer solstice, Voltefacium, which is the Despicable Face from the Alchemy, Wild Unknown Alchemy deck. So these were the monthly cards for May, and I feel like this is perfect depiction of what was going on. I like how the kind of colors are picked up in this 3-month alchemy stage of Despicable Face. This is about taking the masks off. And yeah, Ace of Flames and Three of Swords. In this regards, Three of Swords for me in May came as making a lot of decisions because we are renovating our house on a very low budget. So the decisions were of the type, do we pay for painting or do we have to paint ourselves, and so on. Do we buy this, but we have to be within this money limit, and so it's just like makes it really hard and less enjoyable to do the renovations. At the same time, there was so much energy and so much excitement and doing. So it was very Ace of Flames mixed with this like stressful decisions versus just creative decisions versus a lot of annoyance and frustration as well. So these two cards played out quite well. I feel like the archetype was a guide or a reminder to just be the vessel of all of this coming through, not hold on to those stories for too long because they will shift, and they are shifting. And probably that commune, this is about community, but actually this commune played out for me very much physical. Like I was driving so much back and forth between the city and the apartment we live in and this new house. So this, I don't know how well I kind of really was a vessel, but it was a constant kind of reminder whenever I looked at my altar, at my cards, I was just like, okay, just let it be in some way, So this process maybe could have been a bit more enjoyable if I let it. This is Pluto and Sun card, so it's quite a groundbreaking or big shifts that are happening. I probably could have made it a bit more enjoyable if I wasn't so set on like we have to do it quickly. We rented our apartment here in the city from the 1st of July, so we really have to be moved by the end of this month. So I guess that's why we were kind of pushing a bit with this Ace of Swords. But yeah, I think I need to remember a little bit more of the process itself. It's also enjoyable, and it's good to see effects of your work. But yeah, so these ones were my May cards, and for my June cards, if you're wondering how do I know what my June cards are and so on, we very often in like tarot community pull cards. These ones were pulled, on December solstice, and these ones the May cards, and my June cards I pulled, as I said, on December solstice, so this is how I know what my June cards are. They were pulled all by random. So the alchemy stage, I pulled 4 of those stages for 3, from December solstice till spring solstice, from spring solstice till summer solstice. So that's the one that I'm under right now. So it's the despicable phase. And if you look at description here, it's what is hidden, unacceptable, shamed, and acceptance as enlightenment. And I love reading those little things. When this card appears, it is important to notice what company surrounds you. Those who can see and accept all sides of you are true alchemical allies. The card may indicate fear of failure. Some are so afraid to make a mess that they never cook up anything in the laboratory. Try. The mess is alchemy underway. So the 3 months are, I think, encouraging me a lot to, not be so afraid of failure, I guess. The despicable face is never seen, rather it's kept in hiding to save outward appearances. This card appears when something below the surface wants to be witnessed in order to be transformed. Everyone has their own version of the despicable face and their own reasons for assuming it as an abomination. It could be a buried resentment, an insecurity, or a physical characteristic that holds us back from expressing our true self. Remarkably, once revealed, it is not despicable at all. It is human. It is interesting. What once was thought of as an error becomes an asset on our journey of alchemical transformation. This card connects us to others, and to humanity as a whole. Through acceptance, we lift the veil of perfection and reclaim our energy. Honesty and acceptance are the balm that heals the most tender of wounds. So it's a beautiful, beautiful card, beautiful stage in alchemical journey. And for this 3 months, specifically when a person is put through like endings and beginnings, even of their own choice, it's still quite a raw place to be in, fitting into the new community, how much you show of yourself, who are you? I'm really faced with these questions right now, like, who am I? What am I like changing into, and what life am I choosing for myself? So agape, a form of, love from Greek. Let's see how Kim Krans explains it here. And it's devotion and unconditional love, service, reverence, honor and joy, spiritual bypassing and righteousness. What if instead of putting yourself at the center of your spiritual practice, you put God, Goddess, or nature at the center? How would this change approach? I was brought up Catholic, so I feel like I had to reframe this in a way that like I was never in the center of my spiritual beliefs when I was growing up, right? But there was always the God or Goddess in form of Mary or Christ as this ideal that you maybe, are able to reach, but Christ as a bridge. But so it's interesting how then you can swing to the extreme of the other side, and then I feel like the older I get, I'm kind of finding the golden middle in between the two, and it's just an interesting process right now as well, because when your support net changes, when you move away from what's known, and I've done it, many times in my life, so it's not something totally new to me, but there's always difference, there's always a new journey, right? It's always a new aspect of yourself, a new fractal of yourself that you discover. But when you change the support net and you have to look for a new one, you're always in this in-between land, and I think you ask those important questions like what gives you support, when can you find your people in the physical reality, whom do you want to hang out with, whom do you want to show yourself to? It's a big question. So Agape card may suggest you reassess what you worship every day, consciously or unconsciously. What are you elevating? Where does the sacred ladder you climb ultimately lead to? Very important questions, and I'm very interested in discovering this for myself more and more, because I feel like I'm changing. Okay, so this is Agape. Ashwagandha is purpose, and it's North Node and the Moon, and it's wonderful. I just finished running the Jupiter workshop with Karni. It's on Jupiter, and when we did the workshop this Saturday, it was Jupiter in conjunction with North Node, and this is usually Jupiter exaggerates and like expands any planet it comes to in touch with. So when it's in touch with North Node, it really exaggerates and expands the visionary qualities of humanity in general. But North Node also often denotes a form of challenges, or when we need to develop into something, like you usually go through little struggles or challenges, or you have to go unknown ways and it's not always easy. So it's interesting that this month I have the Three of Feathers again, this time from Margaret Peterson Tarot, and I have Two of Discs, which is a Jupiterian card. It's Jupiter in Capricorn. Jupiter doesn't like to be put into form. That's why I feel like it's like a snake, it's trying to adjust to the earthiness of Capricorn, but Jupiter is all about freedom and charging ahead and expansion. So being in an earthy sign, it's in detriment in Capricorn. So it's not, it's not a favorite sign of Jupiter. So it twists and changes and tries to figure out the right balance. And when we look at the description of Three of Swords from Margaret Peterson, it's actually so wonderful. I really like it, because often when you do tarot for a long time, you find different ways of working with cards, and Three of Swords to me doesn't mean always the same Three of Swords. I don't hold the Three of Swords from May was so much different, what actually more creative but more heady as well, based on the image. Here we see that full moon, which just happened on the 4th, and we see the feathers. The blood is not real though, and the description says, touch and pain, a necessary cut that liberates you from old fears and feelings of guilt, memories trying to tie you to old patterns of experiencing and thinking. Just as the blood on the feathers is not real, but only red paint, repetitive memories of past hurts are also without reality or substance. By cutting and separating, you can touch upon something new, a new destiny and an expansion of your mental capacity. And we know that in Tarot de Marseille, Three of Swords is quite a creative number. You can come with new solution, when Two of Swords can be like a stalemate. Something comes through and separates that, the stuckness in some way. And so here it's kind of a little bit lighter, a little bit more intuitive, I would say, a little bit even more watery with that full moon energy. And we can see how that balance, it's important between intuition and thinking, and between that feminine and masculine approach, earth and fire, air and water. So yeah, it's a fascinating thing to watch, how these cards kind of evolve each month. And I love reading the description from Margaret Peterson. This again, you can watch one of my old videos on my favorite tarot books. This is one of my favorite books ever. Okay, so that's me. Thank you for watching, and I speak to you soon. Bye.